Hey everyone, welcome to Fantasy Book Reviews. My name's Nick.
And I'm Ray, and today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of the Wheel of Time Amazon Original Series.
This review is going to have spoilers from episode 3 and possibly some spoilers from the first book of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. In this video, we're going to be discussing the three things that we liked the most about the episode and the three things that we liked the least. So with that, let's get into it.
So we're going to start off with our first big 3 likes, and this, of course, like we said in previous episodes, we'll be trying to keep our book bias as much out of it as possible. If you're a fan of the series, the book series that is, and you disliked the TV series, give it a rewatch. It's better on the rewatch. I will say that.
When we initially watched it, I only watched up to episode 5. I didn't see 6 and 7 wasn't out yet, so we'll see how those ones go. But yeah, so far I'm definitely enjoying it more.
Yep. So with that, let's go and start with your big 3 likes.
So my three likes were the introduction of Tom Maryland. Um, and I have a little issue with him that I guess I'll talk about here in a second. Uh, and I really enjoyed Matt specifically, but all of the characters, but Matt's character development in this episode. And I really enjoyed the exchange between Tom and Matt over the Iolan. And those are my three likes.
Well, my big 3 likes was also the introduction of Tom Maryland.
Of course.
Matt's character development, specifically his descent into darkness ish, right?
Okay.
And then the other thing is just, I'd say Nynaeve and Lan and the Moraine. Um, there's a dislike centered around Nynaeve too, but just her and Lan kind of vibing it out. And then,
Yeah.
just the whole what's the word vibe they have. The big thing for me, I guess we can talk about the Nynaeve one first, since that's the one that differs the most.
Sure.
um Nynaeve and Lan, they're already starting to get like a budding respect for one another. And
Yeah.
she's badass. She tracked Lan in the books, and Lan's like,
Mm.
impossible. But like,
You know,
she's
yeah,
badass.
I of course I do like that. I one of my dislikes are surrounding the dialogue of that, but yes, I would agree. I like Nynaeve. I do in the books, and I like her here as well.
Yeah. But then, I mean, there's not really else much to focus on that. So we'll skip to the next part, which, what do you want to talk about first, Tom or Matt?
Sure, let's just talk about Tom. So obviously I really enjoyed his introduction, right? He comes out, he sings a very sad song. It was good. Super sad. The only issue I had mentioned I had an issue with him. Why does he not have a cloak? Why does he not have the Gleeman's cloak?
He
That
does.
was the only thing.
He does. He flares it out, and you see the colors on the inside.
Oh, can you? I didn't even notice it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I take it back then.
it's
I
not.
take it back.
It's not like on the outside. It's not a big cloak. It's hard to tell. But like when he
Yeah.
sits down to sing a song, it flashes. There's like little color
Oh,
squares in it.
I take
But
I take my dislike back. I just enjoyed it then.
on on the Tom Maryland though, I think the song he sings, which the guitar is kind of just plain Jane, but whatever.
Of
Very,
course.
very,
Yeah.
very sad song, but also
Hmm.
huge foreshadowing in it. And this is
Yeah.
a little tinged with spoilers. Not going to go into it, but I think the song is a really good
Yeah.
foreshadow of the series in a way.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And we know the song is about the breaking of the world. I'll just say this: you'll see how read the books all the way through, then go back and watch that song, and you'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I see." Uh huh. You
I
know.
I would imagine that they probably flesh it out in the series as well, right? Not in the book series, in the TV series as well. So, I'm sure as you watch, it'll unfold kind of if you have that song in your mind when you're watching it.
But then Tom centered around Matt. Now, the one thing I will say about Tom is he should have been introduced in Eamon's Field and should have been traveling with him, but
I don't mind
whatever.
this. I did not mind. Obviously I prefer that, but I definitely didn't mind this introduction of him.
Yeah,
I think it was totally fine.
it was
Uh,
it was a good
what I
introduction.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the fact that he stole from Matt. I that strikes me as totally not what Tom Maryland would do, right? Putting these young travelers who obviously have no coin and stealing from them, putting them even in an even worse position. Tom Maryland would not do that. He would not put two young travelers in that situation.
The only way I could
But
see him doing that is if it's like he knows he's going to see them again or he plans to see them again, you know?
it did not seem like he was going to give
Yeah.
that money back, except at the other scene that one of the scenes that I really liked that I included here, which was the exchange between Tom and Matt over the Ioman. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed this scene. I, I'll preface this by saying I still don't like that Matt is a thief. But I definitely think this was a good scene because Tom didn't come in at the beginning. It's a good scene to kind of establish why Tom would want to look out for Matt specifically.
Yeah.
It just kind of it gives him a vested interest in Matt, and we see Matt's development as a character, and might I say Barney Harris he's really killing it right now.
Yeah.
He's killing this
So,
role.
but before I speak on that scene, because it's one of my favorites too, let's just talk about Matt's descent real quick. So we know Matt stole a dagger from Shadar Logoth, right? And in the very
Hmm.
beginning of the episode, you can see he's, you know, whining, but like there's a darkness setting in around him, right? And I think Barney
Sure. Yeah.
Harris kills the slow transformation.
In this episode, it's not as no like it's definitely not the center point. You see he kind of comes in and out of it. There's certain scenes where he has this darkness, right? He has this confrontation with Rand specifically. Um, and then he's around Tom and he's talking right and he's talking about, how he's got to get home and he
Yeah.
has people to take care of, so he's definitely not completely in this dark, somber mood yet.
And that's what I mean by
It's
the slow descent. It's like
Yeah,
you start
it's
to see
starting.
it set in.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to take hold of him,
And I think it's
which
really
is
well done.
yeah, it is well done and it's happening very fast.
Yeah, to be fair though, it kind of happens pretty fast in the book. And with that, at that final scene, so Tom obviously steals Matt's money, which would piss me off. That'd piss anyone off,
Hmm.
right? And Rand's just like, stop, and it's like a Gleeman's donation, right? All that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but then at the end of it, or at that scene where it's a dead Aielman, right?
Yep.
Um, Matt goes to plunder it. Um,
Yeah. The
I do that in
rob his
RPGs.
corpse.
I do that in RPGs. I see dead body, I loot it. What are you gonna do? But
Yeah.
I do think they are making Matt to seem a little like it's hard to empathize with Matt when he's doing shit like that, and you need
Yeah.
to
I
empathize with him.
I understand they're trying to like show the struggle that Matt is having, right? He's stealing because he needs to take care of his sisters and at this point to get home to do that. But he- yeah,
Yeah,
because in the very first episode we saw him like almost compulsively gambling, right? He gambled away all the money that he did have. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
you can't really sympathize with him because he gambles away all his money and then he
yeah,
goes and steals, even though it's kind of for a good reason. You lost all your money. You don't get sympathy from me for that.
yeah. The issue I have with Matt's writing in the show is specifically they didn't give him enough to empathize over first,
Hmm. Yeah.
which I guess in the books it's like that, but the books also don't have him stealing right off the bat, so there's less
Yeah,
bad.
and might I say the Amazon series is definitely doing a way better job at developing Matt as a character before right in the books it
Yeah,
takes him 3 books to start getting developed. In this one
yeah,
it's immediate. Matt is being developed and Barney's really killing that role.
yeah. I wonder why he isn't recast for season 2. I want to know, but
Yeah, I
anyway.
don't know.
But that
I bet there's something out on that, but I haven't read about it. I don't
yeah,
really keep up with any of the news, honestly.
yeah. But that scene, Tom comes off as like caring almost, and you wonder why he's caring. Overall,
Yeah,
great introduction of the
go
character
ahead.
and great insertion into their party.
Yeah. And I like, we will see that it is in the books too, right? It's not expressed right away why Tom cares so much, um, or why Tom would care so much, but it's definitely you can definitely see that he's caring about Matt's issues, right?
Yeah.
He feels for him. And obviously at the end of the episode he saves the boys and helps them and runs off with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely characteristic of Tom Maryland. So
Yeah. With that, let's go into the didn't like section. I'll go first this time. The opening scene, Nynaeve versus the Trolloc. I hate that.
mhm.
I hate everything
Okay.
about that. Um,
Okay.
Perrin and the Wolves again. No Elias Machira, which really bothers me. And then the Tuathan.
We kind of have some overlapping ones. I did not mind the beginning intro scene, but might I say I have some dialogue issues, specifically with Nine Ave and Lan, and then with the Tinkers, right? The Tuatha. I hated some of the dialogue going on there.
Do you know the song?
Um, yeah, I didn't like the random, or maybe it's just because it hasn't been fleshed out yet, but I didn't like the random appearances of the Dragon Fang. It just feels so odd and out of place in
Yeah.
this in the show in general. I don't like it. And I really did not like the entire sequence of Perrin and Egwene.
Yep.
Not just with the wolves, that is a part of it, but I didn't like the entire sequence with them. I thought it was really poorly done.
So those are your
So
big three
since
dislikes.
yes, and since you had an issue with the opening scene, let's go ahead and start there, huh?
I need Versatrolic. Like,
Uh-huh.
come on, come on, come the fuck on, dude. In a pool,
Yeah.
like, I get it, but she's untrained. She's just, it'd be like you killing a bear randomly in the woods.
Yeah, and I attribute it to luck. She got lucky, right? That's what I attribute it to.
The
It's one
thing
Trolloc.
is,
It's not like she killed two or three of them, right? She caught it by surprise and she got lucky.
yeah, it's just, it wasn't needed for any character development at all. I mean, she,
It was it's just a dramatic scene.
yeah,
That's all. They were just putting in a dramatic scene.
yeah. I don't like it because it was there for no reason. There's no reason for it
Okay.
to be there, and it it kind of discounts what Trollocs can do, even more so. And already, I don't
Yeah.
like exactly the way Trollocs are shown in this. Like in episode 2, when they're just standing at the bridge and they're like just, uh, constantly moving. Like,
Yeah.
okay, slow down the animations a little bit on it, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
You definitely you pointed out totally correct in the first episode review that we did where you said they're just CGI zombies.
mhm.
And you feel it. You definitely feel it, but yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, Nynaeve is a badass character, and it just feels like they're giving her strengths with no earning of it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I
Like I
just don't
said,
like it. It doesn't sit right with me.
yeah, that's okay. I can see why you wouldn't like it. Like I said, I didn't mind it. Yeah, I just didn't have an issue with it. To continue with Nynaeve, whenever so spoiler for the books, right? Nynaeve is taught tracking by her father, and that's the reason that she was able to find land. Um, so it just kind of feels totally out of place, and it's just the whole dialogue itself. It's so weird. It continues with her sneak up on him in the beginning of episode 3, and he's like, "How did you find me?" And she just doesn't answer. And then they're he brings it up later. She's like, you can ask me, and then he asked, and then she said, "I said you can ask, not that I'd answer." Like, what was the point of that whole dialogue? It just I hated it. I hated that dialogue.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
and
it's
then yeah,
what's the word? It's confrontational just to be confrontational.
I just did not like that whole part. It was cringe to me. It didn't sit right with me, especially knowing like I don't know. I guess they're just gonna explain it away as the previous wisdom that kind of raised her as an orphan, right? Um, as not only was she did she know she can channel because she was trained, or she tried to go to the one tower,
Yeah.
or she tried to go to the White Tower, but she also somehow is fantastic at woodcraft and sneaking, right? So, uh, you know, she just got lucky with how amazing her previous wisdom was.
Yeah.
And then again with the dialogue, obviously the Tinker's coming out. What a terrible, terrible exchange between Perrin Egwin and the Tinkers. It's so weird.
So yeah,
Do you know the
let's.
song? And then silence for 30 seconds. And then for some reason, Aram is able to speak. And I hated it. It was terrible.
To touch on the naive tracking thing, I mean, they could have easily just said, "Oh, it's a Two Rivers thing, right? Two Rivers. That's what they do there. They're a woodland thing." And she didn't answer, and it said it's the wisdom, or
Yeah.
it's unnecessary, and
Yeah.
I don't like unnecessary changes for no reason, personally. But the Tuathon Tinkers. I never liked Tinkers to begin with. When I read the book and I read the Tinker
Yeah.
scene, I hated Aram right off the bat. I hated him.
Yeah.
But
I didn't really dislike him exactly in the book. I really didn't like Aram either. But in this show, I didn't really care. I didn't dislike him, I should say.
I dislike him because that's a dude I
Yeah.
would take issue with in real life. He'd be like, dude, leave me alone. Like you're annoying.
Okay.
But the whole Tinkers, I mean, from the very beginning, you're like, oh, these people are weird. Do you know the song?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
super
it's
weird.
just that whole exchange was terrible to me.
Yeah, and
Terrible.
before that with Perrin, right? And a big issue with this might be Perrin himself. Give my man some dialogue instead of just
Mm.
sitting there with a plain face and it's wolves and
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, and
know.
I kind of want to bring this back a little bit because I jumped ahead to the Tinkers and I wanted to talk about the sequence with Perrin and Egwene, and Egwene. And I don't was it I'm gonna ask you. I felt like there was some like weird romantic thing going on f from Perrin to Egwene, which it might have just been me, but if I felt that, and if that's the case, I would be very upset if they did that. If he killed his wife 2 episodes before, and then now he's like developing romantic feelings for Egwene, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, it's starting to feel that way. When he was trying to light the fire, just, I got it. Come on, come on, come on. I got it. I'll get it. I'll get it. Then Egwene just
Yeah,
lights it, and he's like, "Uh, is, do
yeah,
you want to get us the water and food?" And
yeah. And then he like has her come and lay on him to fall asleep, and then he's trying
yeah,
to again shelter her whenever he's gonna go check out ahead. I just got some romantic vibes from it, and I really hope that it was just my imagination.
no, there's some romantic undertones there. And then the whole running from the wolves scene.
Yeah, what a bad.
So this whole section bothers me because this is where one of I think the most interesting characters would be, right? Elias. And
Hmm.
this is where Perrin starts getting guided for what he can do. And then
Right,
this
I had.
TV show just says, nah, we're just going to have him run from wolves for some reason.
Yeah, and I feel like adding the guide, right, Elias, adding him in wouldn't it would have been a good addition to this episode. I don't see what they would have cut from doing it. If rather than if they would have just had Egwin and Perrin come up on him like in the books as well, they still could have gone to the Tinkers. All of the sequences still could have stayed exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
except for the bad wolf chase scene, which it was so weird.
And it's,
And then the wolf dream as well. It's weird the way that they're
yeah.
trying to paint the wolves.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why he dreams of the wolf eating his dead wife's corpse. Like it's just odd to me.
I don't know. I think they're doing a really poor job. I think they're doing the
Yeah.
worst job with Perrin out of anyone.
Yeah.
Um,
And I had said this in the previous episode, I'll say it again. It's all just clunky and it doesn't feel right and it's not smooth. So
yeah. With that,
I don't know.
what would you say this episode is overall? Closing
Oh, you know
thoughts.
what? I had a bonus dislike that I was gonna throw in.
Throw it in.
Because I held my tongue in the first 2 episodes in the hopes that I just overlooked it in the third. But where is Bella? Why is Bella not mentioned at all? I, again, I thought, okay, so for background, Bella is Rand's plow horse, and is the horse that Egwene is riding throughout this first book. Um, and I thought, okay, after they get out of Shadar Logoth, maybe they'll run into Bella across the water, and cool, they'll mention her at last. But she's obviously, right, so obviously throughout the 14 books, the most important character in the series. So I don't know why they're not mentioning her.
Honestly,
But
they have to
that
be
was just
saving her for Tarmon Gaiden. They have to be saving her for
yeah,
that.
they're saving her for a later appearance. I hope
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Because one of the horses did die in Shadar Logoth, and if that was supposed to be Bella, I'm gonna be very upset.
Better
But that
not
was
fucking
just
be
an
Bella.
additional dislike that
Yeah.
I bit my tongue in the first two because I thought, hey, maybe she'll come up, but she did not.
Closing thoughts. What do you give this episode?
So I gave episode one a six, the last one a seven, and I think I'm gonna give it a seven again. Um, no, maybe I'll give it a 6.5 because I just disliked the parent Egwene sequences so much, but I really enjoyed the Matt and Rand sequences as well. I was fine with the Land Moraine and Nynaeve, so no issues with those ones.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 just because of that. It would have gone up to a seven or even an eight, but I can't give it that.
Yeah. I would. I'd have to give this one a 6.5 as well, specifically because
Oh wow, exactly.
the Perrin and Egwene scenes are really
Hey,
like hard bothering me.
yeah,
Um,
we're on the same page here, man.
yeah, Matt and Rand kill it with Tom. Moraine,
Yeah.
Land, and Nynaeve for the most part are it's a good storyline going on there.
Hmm.
But God, do you know the song? That drops at 4 points right there. You know, it's
Yeah,
So yeah, six
yeah,
and a half. I'd give it. I'd say this is
yeah.
worse than the last episode, but better than episode one still. And if
Agreed.
Perrin and
I would
Egwene was
agree with that.
fixed, it would have been better. But
Yeah.
yeah,
If Perrin and Egwene, if their sequences were better, um, I would have given this an eight. No doubt.
yep,
Even if it was slightly better, I would have given it an eight.
yep.
But I can't. I had to drop it a point and a half because of that.
And with that, over to Nick.
If you enjoyed this video and you like this sort of content, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button to see our upcoming videos as well.
Make sure to stay tuned. We got some good videos in the future coming your way. And make sure to comment below any other series you'd like us to review. Could be a TV show. The Foundation is a really good show. I think we should do that at some point, but that's just my thoughts. With that, smash that stuff. Ray, out.
Thanks for watching.